Most people think wealth is something you can see. Glass towers reflecting the morning light, private jets descending through low cloud, gold watches placed carefully beside espresso cups. But the most powerful wealth I have ever encountered was almost invisible, and it took me years to understand why. This is not a video about earning more. It is about needing less, deliberately. About building a financial life that does not shake when headlines do. 90 days ago, I ran a quiet experiment. No new income streams, no extreme budgeting, no public declarations of discipline. I simply began studying my outflow with the same seriousness most people reserve for their income. In 3 months, I reduced my personal burn rate by £320 per month. Not by shrinking my life, by strengthening its foundations. But the real story started years earlier. I was sitting across from a mentor whose net worth extends into 10 zeros. You would never guess it. He wore a decade-old navy jumper. He drove a modest hybrid vehicle. His watch was unremarkable. No signals, no theatre. I finally asked him why he lived that way.
He said calmly, "I do not pay for the right to be noticed. I pay for the right to be left alone."
At the time, I thought he was describing minimalism. He was describing insulation. Around that same season of my life, I made a different choice.
At a dinner, someone casually remarked that serious people wear serious watches.
It was not directed at me. It was not even critical. But it lingered. 2 weeks later, I bought a watch I could not comfortably afford. I told myself it was about credibility, about presence. I wore it twice, and every time I checked the time, I felt tension. Not because of the price alone, but because I knew I had acted from insecurity. That watch taught me something no book had. Status purchases often carry invisible emotional interest payments. And then something else happened. There was a month, nothing dramatic, when 2 large payments cleared earlier than I expected. Insurance and tax. I remember opening my banking application twice in one evening, refreshing it. Not because I was broke, because I felt exposed. My lifestyle required consistent performance. That quiet anxiety, that subtle dependency, was the real cost. That was the turning point. There are 2 financial games people play, the accumulation game and the insulation game. The accumulation game focuses on inflow, earn more, scale more, optimize more. The insulation game focuses on outflow, reduce dependency, increase resilience, extend longevity. Both matter. Only one protects you when conditions change. Let us slow this down. If your income stopped tomorrow, how much would your life require each month to function with dignity and calm? Not aspiration, not peak comfort, stability. I call this your survival number. Most people know their salary, very few know their survival number. When I calculated mine honestly, I discovered nearly £400 per month in fixed overhead that added no structural security to my life. Streaming services I barely used. A £4.99 weather application untouched since 2024. Digital subscriptions that had quietly increased in price by more than 5% over time. Convenience expenses disguised as necessity. None reckless, just drift. And drift is how fragility forms. In the United Kingdom, the average household now spends well over £100 per month on subscriptions alone, often without realizing how many are active. Small numbers, structural consequences. So here is something practical. Take 3 months of bank statements, highlight every recurring payment. Ask one question: if this disappeared tomorrow, would my life meaningfully worsen? If the answer is no, that is insulation waiting to happen. When I ran my statements through an artificial intelligence prompt, categorizing transactions under £20 into utility versus dopamine, I found over £180 per month in what I now call silent drift. Nothing dramatic, just unattended friction. Here is another shift that changed everything. I removed saved card details from online retailers. It sounds minor. It reduced impulse purchases by more than 50%. Convenience is often the final push between desire and action. Introduce friction deliberately. Now let us talk about engineered urgency. We live in an age of synthetic scarcity, limited drops, personalized countdown timers. only available for 48 hours. Scarcity calibrated to your browsing behavior. So the defense must be structural. The 48-hour buffer. For any non-essential purchase above £50, wait 48 hours. No negotiation. 48 hours. Between impulse and action, space appears. And in that space, clarity returns. During my 90-day experiment, I kept a list titled Things I Thought I Needed. After 48 hours, more than half no longer felt relevant. Some felt faintly embarrassing. Desire has a half-life. Utility does not. This rule alone prevented over £1,000 of unnecessary spending in 3 months. But more importantly, it restored authority over my decisions. Impulse weakens autonomy. Deliberation strengthens it. Now let us zoom out briefly. Our grandparents bought furniture designed to last 30 years. We buy furniture optimized for 5. Previous generations repaired before replacing. We replace before evaluating. The economic system rewards replacement cycles. Insulated individuals extend them. I made a rule for myself. Upgrade based on failure, not narrative. My phone works, it stays. My car runs reliably, it remains. My laptop performs its function. It continues. Replacement becomes event-based, not emotion-based. That single shift extends financial timelines by years. Now let me offer a contrast. Scene 1. An individual with high fixed overhead wakes up and checks market headlines. Their mortgage is stretched. Their car finance is substantial. Their subscriptions are layered. A 2% dip feels personal. Scene 2. Another individual wakes to the same headlines. Fixed overhead is low, no prestige debt, purchases intentional. They sip their coffee. The headlines are information, not threat. Same economy, different structure. Low fixed overhead produces inconvenience. High fixed overhead produces fear, and fear is expensive. Now let us talk about cost per decade. Recently, I purchased a winter coat for £800. That number would once have intimidated me. But I asked, how many winters will this survive? If it lasts 20 years, that is £40 per year, approximately 11 pence per day. The question is not, is this expensive? It is, how long will this serve? Cost, years of use. Annualized reality. Use this formula for clothing, furniture, technology, education, memberships. It shifts consumption from reaction to architecture. I worked with someone earning £35,000 per year who reduced fixed overhead by £200 per month. 3 years later, she had over £7,000 in liquidity. Over 20 years, invested modestly, that sum could exceed £60,000. £200 per month does not change your lifestyle immediately. It changes your future structurally. Here is an advanced practice I now follow. Once per year, I run a voluntary stress test. For 1 month, I live at my survival number. Not because I have to, because I want to know I can. It is liberating. If income fluctuated tomorrow, I would not panic. That confidence is priceless. Another principle I adopted from observing highly secure individuals: cap lifestyle growth. If income increases by 20%, allow lifestyle to increase by no more than 3%. The remaining 17% becomes insulation. Slow wealth compounds quietly. Fast wealth performs loudly. There are consumers. There are investors. And then there are architects. Consumers react. Investors allocate. Architects design lives that do not require constant repair. During my 90-day experiment, the most surprising outcome was not financial. It was psychological. Less background tension, less comparison, less scanning rooms for validation. When outflow is controlled, attention changes. You stop measuring yourself against upgrades. You stop refreshing accounts. You stop performing prosperity. And years later, I finally understood what my mentor meant. Being left alone is not withdrawal. It is independence from psychological pressure. The greatest indicator of power is not how much you can buy. It is how little you require to remain steady. So here is the invisible wealth framework. Know your survival number. Reduce fixed overhead deliberately. Install the 48-hour buffer. Think in decades, not discounts. cap lifestyle growth, run annual stress tests, protect your attention. You are not trying to look wealthy, you are building immunity. And in an age engineered for urgency, calm insulation is a competitive advantage. Protect the foundation. If you like content like this, please subscribe. Everything else is noise.